Hi, my name is Mark Keene. I'm here today to introduce our brand new Mini Max power sluice system. And we're really excited and really proud of this machine. It is extremely well built, it is extremely well engineered, and it's a very, very versatile piece of equipment. It makes the perfect little power sluice system where you can run bank type material. With a little quick conversion, you can turn it into a professional concentrating machine. It also turns into a conventional hand sluice. So really, this is the one machine that would service all your prospecting needs, whether you're a beginner to a professional who wants to process large amounts of concentrates. This is the ultimate package, and I can't even believe how well everything works together. Plus, it's small and compact enough to be folded up into a backpack. When I mean compact, I mean really compact. This whole thing weighs probably, at least without the pumps and stuff, probably in about the 14-pound neighborhood. Extremely light, extremely portable, and you can tell this thing would easily fit inside of a backpack frame. Well, I have it up in the air. I want to show you a couple quick things. So you can see with the pin lock system, we have a simple pin. We cock it just a little bit, and when you roll to the next leg position, it just clicks in. And I'll lift this up again, move it, drops into the next leg position. But since this is the front of the box, I would probably go up one more notch and set it there. So we have angle position, and we have these are like a large forged wing nut. This leg here is used to adjust the elevation of the system. This particular one, I have some longer legs on. I'm not sure if we're going to go with the long leg or the short leg. The only advantage and disadvantage of the different legs are, it just makes it more compact. But if you're going to use like a larger tub than you're seeing me down here to recirculate your material, you're a little bit out. But I really, really like the compact size. And I'll show you one other thing here too, which is nice. This whole top hopper literally just lifts right off. So I mean, how easy is that? So it's easy to break down, easy to transport. Again, it's probably one of the most compact pieces of equipment we ever built, and it moves a lot of material. That's what amazes me. Okay, one of the things I really like about the new hopper system on this is we're actually using what I call as a flood header. And what a flood header is just a simple box that the water is pumped into, and that disperses the energy of the water flow and spreads it over the full width of the box and allows the water to flow out free flow. With the small pumps we're using, you don't want any kind of a back pressure on the pump. So if you look right here, I'm using two small 12-volt water pumps, and these pumps are around 1,100 gallons a minute. I'm sorry, 1,100 gallons per hour plus. But you want to run as small as pump as possible because you want to pull as small as amperage as possible. Right now, we're probably pulling, when we're running the battery, around probably close to about 5 amps combined amperage to run these pumps. But if you put back pressure on them, you're going to pull more power, and then you're also not going to get the same amount of water flow. So it's this flood header design really resolves a lot of the problems that I see a lot of other guys trying to build these things, and they're putting spray bars and things like that, but that kills the water flow, and you have to have bigger pumps, and you're not going to get, and it's also something this size, you want to run volume. So if you allow a decent amount of water flow, you're going to have volume going through it, and that does make a big difference. Now, so we have actually two separate ports coming in, one per pump, or we have a larger port in the center of the flood header, which you can use it for a single larger 12-volt pump, let's say like a 2,500 gallon per hour pump, something like that. Or if you want to tie in a small gasoline pump, we have this center port available. So you can run it for both battery powered and also a gasoline driven. And by the way, this Sluice Box hopper can be removed simply by picking it up just like this. And you can replace a standard, I'll just show you this real quickly. It's designed to accommodate a standard A52 flare. So back to being a very versatile piece of equipment, really does a nice job in that department. And it's got a nice little leg system. It's got a single mono leg in the middle here, which it's very easy to adjust your hopper elevation. Another really nice thing we have, since we're talking about the top hopper, is we have different classifier screens. See, it comes with two. This is your main class that you're going to use for river type material or desert type material. And it looks kind of like a small barbecue grill, but I call this a grizzly bar. And to install and remove it, you just slide it in, drop it, locked in. I mean, how simple is that? If you want to use the machine more as a concentrating machine, I have a much finer woven wire mesh. This is probably about, probably 1/8 inch or so. And again, same procedure. You just slide it into the slot here, wiggle it, drop it down, and it's locked in. So you would use this one for extremely fine gold conditions, but mainly if you can use it in the concentration mode, but I'll get into that a little bit later. So for what I'm going to do, the majority of the time, I'm going to run my grizzly bar section. All right, now that we've talked about the top hopper and the classifier system, we're going to talk about what's inside the top sluice, or the top hopper. We start off with a slick plate. This is where you actually dump your material into, and it allows the material to get wet and turn into a slurry. And then we pass over a section of the miracle mat. Now, the miracle mat works really well in a controlled environment. This is not a controlled environment. There's too much chaos, too much oversized material. But what it will do for you is it will give you a preview of the material as you're throwing it into the box. For example, let's say if I'm out prospecting with a friend of mine, and I bring over a bucket of material and I dump it through there, and I don't see any color on my miracle mat. Well, I'm going to assume, without having to tear the rest of the box apart, that I'm not in some good values. But let's say if my friend comes over and he puts in a bucket of material and he starts seeing color, well, obviously we know that he's in richer material than I am, so we're going to focus our efforts into his area that he was working on. So it really does have a lot of value. It's just not the perfect environment for the fine gold recovery like we'll have down below. Since we're talking about the miracle mat below, I'll give you an idea here. This whole top hopper just lifts off, which I really, really like. I'm just going to set it down here for the moment. This is we use a combination of 3 different sets of recoveries. We have a piece of the miracle mat, I have a section of the oversized expanded metal, and I have some of the green rubber mat. The green rubber mat riffle has already proven itself to be a very, very efficient riffle design. We've been really happy with it. The only problem is for years I couldn't figure out a way to really get it to stay in a sluice box. So we just recently discovered a much disgustingly simple way to hold it in, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So the first to do a cleanup on the sluice is really simple. You just remove your oversized expanded metal. And we found that the combination of the miracle mat with the oversized expanded metal is extremely efficient. It increases the recovery, especially on the larger, coarser gold, and it allows it to handle a much higher volume than just the miracle mat alone. Remember, the miracle mat does an amazing job, but it requires a very specific controlled environment to really get that superior fine gold recovery. So we'll remove that for the moment. Then to clean up your lower sluice, it's really simple. You just take this lower sluice and the mat just slides in and out. I mean, that is kind of disgustingly simple the way it comes in and out. And that's what I was referring to. We didn't have a good way to hold it down, but this works too well. And then to do your cleanup on your miracle mat, you just simply pick it up and it pulls out and just wash this all out into a tub and you're ready to go. So I really like the simplicity of this. And you can see here, there's a slight bend in the expanded metal, and that bend just kind of hooks the miracle mat, the green mat into place. So let's just lock this all down together. I'll pick this up. And I really like the way this top hopper comes off. And even that little mono leg does an amazing job. So everything works just perfect. Okay, so let me fire this up and run a little water through it so you can see how it looks. Now, one of the nice things is the machine is quiet, as you can tell. It doesn't make a lot of noise. So if you want to run this in your garage or your house, or you want to take it out to a stream or out in the desert, it's nice and quiet. In fact, it's kind of soothing to just sit by and listen to the thing. But you can see the flood header working here. Very smooth, even flow water down into the lower sluice. And so it's really working nice. Now also, since we're right here, I'll show you that if you want to make some fine adjustments, which I have to, all you do is just grab the sluice, again grab your forged wing nut, and you can raise and lower the sluice. I'm going to go just a little bit higher here, lock it forward. Now in this mode, I'm set up to run material from the desert. I can run material from the edge of a river. I can take 5-gallon buckets home and process the concentrates. This is the mode you use it in the majority of the time with the classifier screen, okay? So I've already showed you kind of a quick cleanup on this, but let's say if I want to go process some black sand concentrates, or if I want to go out and let's say run an area that just has extremely fine flour gold, like stuff you've never seen before. You do a little conversion in the lower box. So all you have to do is switch it to run from your bank run desert type riffle design. And see, here's a very important point. When you're set up in this configuration, you can run a lot of volume. I could probably run close to 3/4 of a cubic yard an hour through it in this type of configuration. Once you switch the classifier screen and your riffle board and you replace the riffle with this, then all of a sudden the capacity will drop by probably 75%, maybe like less than 1/4 yard an hour, but your fine gold recovery will be off the charts. Then it's designed as a concentrating machine. So, but I would use it, let's say if I was going dredging, okay, and I wanted to bring all my concentrates back and I had a couple 5-gallon buckets. I might run it through in this machine here just to blow through that 5-gallon bucket in a matter of a couple minutes, and then take the concentrates, put it like in a coffee can, and then rerun it again with just this, just for speed. Or you can run it, if you have more time on your hands, you can run it with just this. But I'm going to show you how easy it is to switch it back and forth. So real simply again, you don't have to remove the top hopper, but to show you, it's just easier to do it this way for now. So again, I'm just going to pull this thing apart. Just pull this out right here. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to install the miracle mat, and that kind of slides in the same area. It's a little tight in there, but you don't want it to be loose. If it's loose, then you have stuff sliding down the edges. Okay, so now you can see I have the miracle mat, the oversized expanded metal, and the miracle mat again. So now I'm going to go ahead and put this back together. I really love the way this thing goes together so easy. I know I keep saying that, but it really is cool. So now, since I'm going to run the other mat, I'm going to switch over to my my finer mesh screen. And in some conditions, you might want to put something smaller over this, but this will probably accommodate 90% of your cleanup needs. And it looks essentially the same when you're running it. Make some finer adjustments here. You got to remember something. People forget this. When you're setting up a system for recirculation, there are some basic rules you can't get around. To run 1 cubic yard of material, if you have a perfect recirculation system, you're going to lose at least 35 gallons of water. And that's a minimum. You lose up to almost 45 gallons depending on the porosity of the material and stuff. So if you really want to run volume in a recirculation system, you need a lot of water. You need several 55-gallon drums. But for just sampling and stuff, this thing works great, or just processing a couple of 5-gallon buckets. It does a nice job. So I'm gonna set it up here with a couple little tricks to it. I'm gonna slide this out to the edge so my oversized material can be shucked off the end, and I'm gonna set up. It's just a small aluminum punch plate screen. And we're still kind of playing with all these ideas. We don't have them perfected yet, and this is all kind of new stuff. The box is available now and it's ready for sale, but the recirculation stuff, we haven't really made any hard decisions on how we're going to handle it. But it does work nice because, again, your water gets sucked from here. It goes up through the flood header, down through the sluice box. The sand and the silt falls onto this one, and then you just have to shove it off the screen by hand. and then the cleaner water comes back through here, goes through one barrier, through another barrier, and it should help get your material a little cleaner so you're not running sand and silt and muck through your pumps. So let's see how it processes material. So this is a conventional number two shovel. And I'm watching it work in the riffles. Everything's working perfect. In fact, it's a lot of material. Now this dirt came right out of the Mojave Desert in kind of a spot we have that's actually doing pretty good. But okay, now watch this. I'm going to take a shovel load, and this is pretty much unclassified dirt that's come out of the desert. It's going to pretty much dump it in there, right onto the slick plate. It washes it over. Now you notice it's leaving these rocks and stuff here. That's fine. You just take these and you shove them off the end of it. That's not a problem. In fact, you want that to happen. This way you're able to make sure you're not kicking any nuggets off or anything else. Now you'll notice at this end here, I'm actually having to scrape my dirt off by hand, but I don't mind doing that because it's fairly it's cleaner dirt. And I'm not going to allow all that crap to fall into my water, so I can continue to recirculate this water over and over. And I'm watching the riffle boards work, and they're working nice. I'm looking at a real nice clean riffle here. Nothing's overloading. All right, we've seen how it handles a shovel. I'm just going to try pouring some stuff directly into through a bucket. Now again, this is not easy dirt to process. This stuff that came out of the Mojave Desert. It's actually handling it really nicely. I'm just periodically checking the tailings, make sure we're not overloading the sluice. But I can see the riffle is working exactly how they're supposed to. Classifier is working nice. Gotta scrape this off occasionally here. I know that sounds like a little bit of a pain, but I've built recirculation systems before. There's just no better way to do it. Let it build up, and then you scrape off the tailings. Okay, that grizzly bar is working amazing. The material falls through here. It falls, and the sediment falls into this section. It has to go through a screen door, through the crossover tubes, through another screen door before it gets to the pump. So the area down by the pumps is pretty clean. I mean, I feel a little bit of a little silty sediment, but that's not going to hurt it. So I'll run some material through here so you can see it work. And I can see the ripples working real well. I can see the bottom of it. The color kind of stands out nice. Nice, clean riffle action. And you can make it flatter, steeper, whatever works for you. Got a mid-joiner, works good. Scrape this off. That's just the lining here is just a simple screen door, nothing fancy. You can take it out and clean it. Yeah. All right. So, all right. All right. I found that this is actually concentrates from a dry washer that were just too lazy to clean out. Now actually the recirculation system's working pretty good. My pumps are clean. Got to make a couple of tweaks, but it seems to be doing a pretty good job overall. It'd be better to have a little taller tubs, I think, but this is a good place to start. Uh-huh. Yeah. Look, just simply do this. Lift it up, drop it down. That easy. It doesn't really change the speed underneath it, but it does give your preview riffle a chance to see. In fact, let's see if we got any color in here that I can see. Okay. Hold on, I can't see squat. Okay, actually I see gold and black sand. Look at that. You know, larger rocks and sticks and other things, so it changes the riffle profile. But the cool thing is, I had a couple different samples of material I was running. This one bucket had quite a bit of gold in it compared to the first one that I ran. So to simply clean this out, I just have to lift this out. So I'll show you here real quick. Okay, I'm just going to take this, and I'm just going to be lazy. I'm just going to rinse it into the lower box. I know I'm not going to lose anything. So I'm going to let all this rinse out. But the cool thing is I could tell I was in the gold. That's what I liked. Okay. I'm also, because I know there's gold and black sand under here, I'm going to just kind of take my hand, and I'm just going to run my fingers along here. Try to kind of change the profile, how it catches stuff. So, not perfect, but it'll get 90% of the stuff out of there. Alright, so that's good. You know, it is kind of nice being battery powered, so easy to start and stop. And when you put your Miracle mat back in here, it's tight enough it doesn't slide out, is what I like. So there's really nothing left in the top hopper. Now, to do a cleanup, I can take this out or leave it in, okay? I can actually see a lot of gold right down in here, but I'll just lift this off so you can see it. So you can kind of tell by looking at it here that everything's working the way it's supposed to. I see a lot of black sand. There's a little piece there. No, I don't think it's gold. I think it's all right here. So I think all my gold and values are going to be really up in here. In fact, I'm curious if any made it down in here. So, yeah, I'm sure it's in there. So, yeah. Actually, John, it looks all clean in here. Let's see what it looks like underneath here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put this back on for a second. I'm going to use it just to kind of clean it out here. Helps you have two hands on it. Okay. Just turn one pump on instead of two, see what happens here. This might work. Let's try it. Ah, little tricks to the trade on everything, huh? That did the trick, didn't it? Look at that. Huh, that's cool.
That's a technique he's showing and talking about it.
Yep, that'll work. Okay, let me shut this off now.
Goes right back in.
All right, that actually worked really well. I'm sure once you've used it for a while, you get all these little tricks going on, but I really like the way this lower riffle is working. I can't see this one as much, but you can tell it's all doing its job. So let's see, let's pull my little cleanup tool here. Remove this thing here now. I think all the gold's right here. I saw a little piece in there. Probably me roughing the machine up a little bit, but it's all there? Oh, there it is. Okay. Just for the fun of it, I think I'm going to clean up the lower sluice, see how much I got compared to here to here. That'd be a great test. So, okay, that's not so tough. Here, let's pull it off to the side. Of course, you had another tub. This would be the way to do it, but we have to kind of do with what we have here. Color in here yet, but if everything works right, we should find no color in here whatsoever. It should have all caught it in the top. At least that's what I'm hoping for. I did run some material really fast. There's a chance, but I'm kind of curious. Again, if you had another tub, this would be a lot easier, but you know, this is our first time running on a recirculation system, so it's a little bit tricky. That does clean up pretty easy, though. Oh, there's all your gold right there. Look at that. Yeah, it's probably some in the pan now, but let's clean this out. So I'm just going to take this to make it easy. I'm going to lift this up, pull it past all this here for the moment. Set this back in here. You know what's cool? I didn't really think that this hopper would work this well for a cleanup device. Just going to get a little more washed out of there real quick. Okay, you got it all there? All right, I'm going to take this carpet. I'm just going to flip it over now. Let me get this leg up in place here. Okay. Oh, mercury too, it looks like. And you can see some real fine, particular little pinhead sized pieces. All right, just to reemphasize, I really love the portability of it. You got your removable screens. Your top hopper here just lifts off with, you know, no work at all. Now, I can't talk enough about this leg system. You just pull the knob, rotate it to the position you want, and then just lock into position. So, I mean, that's really good old American ingenuity. A little expensive to fabricate for now. We'll come up with hopefully a more cost-effective way to build it, but you're talking about something that's going to last you forever that's super strong, super compact. Now, this one is equipped with a little bit longer legs, and we did in case a guy has like taller tubs, that type of thing, but I'm not sure whether we're going to go with the longer ones or the shorter yet. Still kind of working on that, but I really just love the portability. Now, you'll notice I'm going to show you one other thing you can do with this machine. It's all held together with wing nuts here. So I'm going to remove this cap, and I'm going to install the A52 flare. So I'll do that in just a moment here. Pretty simple. In fact, I'm just going to set it up to make it easier. Lock it in. In fact, I'm going to lock them forward one more notch. All right, we're going to do the same over here. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this back cap. We do with wing nuts for obvious reasons, so you can tear it apart easy. Now keep in mind this machine will also, the whole top hopper assembly, I have a new cap for the back of an A52 sluice that you can actually do the same thing to the sluice. And I have a cap like this will accommodate the top hopper. Okay, pretty simple enough. Now, since it is a little bit shallower sluice, we don't use all the holes. Okay. Goes together simple enough. I'm going to stand up and finish this up for me. Okay, a little easier for me. Oh, much better. Plus, it's easier not to have to hold your washers up. I really like this hand sluice conversion because let's face it, you carry one piece of equipment with you. You don't have to carry a separate sluice. You don't have to carry a separate high banker. You don't have to carry a separate classifier screens to classify your material before you feed it. You just run complete big rocky bank run material into the high banker hopper, or you can use this as a conventional sluice box. So this one piece of equipment should suit pretty much all your prospecting needs. Again, whether you're a professional or a beginner, this thing's going to definitely do an awesome job of taking care of you. Now again, we're talking about a very, very lightweight sluice. And I mean, this thing is going to just do an amazing job. And I just love the fact that you can fold for transportation. You just fold your legs up, and you're ready to pack this thing in, or you can still put it in like a backpack. But again, even if you're sluicing, it's nice to have the lake system on here, because rather than having to find just the right type of speed of the water, or the right outcropping of rocks that you can attach it to, because you got the 4 independent legs, it doesn't matter what kind of elevation it's at. Even if you're in a very rocky terrain, you can do this. I mean, how cool is that? We can take the sluice box, set it in any kind of position, no matter how rocky, what kind of angle, so I'm really happy with the way it works out. And again, it's the same way to clean up. You pull your wing nut off, you slide this out, and you slide that out. Now, normally, I wouldn't necessarily like to use the Miracle Mat in the sluice box. It does work okay, but when you combine the Miracle Mat with the expanded metal, you have a kick-ass combination that really performs. So, to me, this is really a very cool setup. You may not want the long legs in this kind of scenario, but it's pretty stable. I'm not going to put all my weight on it, because everything's aluminum. But you're talking something very easy to operate. And if you have your legs also, you can watch this. Let's say if you have to fit your leg in between a rock or something, you just, one's forward, one's back. I mean, how cool is that? That's something I've never been able to do with a sluice box. Even the other leg kits we offer, we couldn't do that. So I'm really happy with this. A high banker power sluice system here that can really process a lot of material. It's probably big enough for one guy to work at a medium type pace. I mean, don't get me wrong, I could bury it, but with my back, I'll be done soon. But I could probably work this thing off and on during the day, and it's going to keep up with me just fine. So it processes a lot of material. It's got amazing fine gold recovery. It cleans up in a matter of seconds. It's adjustable in a matter of seconds. So as a power sluice type system, it works amazing. Now, this shows you another aspect that you can do with the box. You can set it up as a sluice box. Now, if you've ever gone sluicing before, you know how difficult it is to find just the right position for the sluice box. I know sometimes we'll spend 20 minutes trying to find just the right location on where to set your sluice box up. But with this thing, it is so cool because you've got 4 independent legs, plus not only do you have elevation control, you have articulation control. And I know this sluice box does an amazing job, because I've used this riffle many times before, and I was blown away by its performance. And I know for a fact that the Miracle Mat with the oversized expanded metal does an amazing job on fine gold. So we really got a kick-ass system for this thing. So as a sluice box, as something that's very portable, that folds up, this thing is unbeatable. Also, one other thing too is you have the option of turning it into a professional cleanup machine. Remember, all you got to do is you pull your green riffle out, which is designed to run bank material, and you can put in just the Miracle Mat and just process the material much finer through the 1/8-inch woven wire mesh, and all of a sudden you have a professional cleanup tool. If I have, let's say, if I'm running like a 6-inch dredge or something, you're going to produce quite a bit of concentrates. Well, to process the concentrates, it would take, usually could take hours to pan it, or you'd require a wheel or a bowl or some other kind of a secondary separation device. But by simply just converting this screen over into your finer mesh screen, pulling out your riffle like I showed you earlier, and installing your Miracle Mat, you've now got one of the ultimate cleanup machines. So you have the ultimate high banker, you got the ultimate cleanup device, you got the ultimate hand sluice, and it's easy to work. It's very simple, and you even have a system that you can recirculate with. We're still kind of working on this stuff, but the concepts are working amazing. We just got to kind of do some fine tuning. So honestly, if I was a newcomer, I wouldn't hesitate. I would buy one of these things, because it is just the most versatile, and it's also an issue. It's an American-made, high-quality product. I mean, everything we made here, everything on these devices is all nothing but the top quality. Steel leg construction, forged wing nuts, I mean, everything on here is just the best of the best construction material. So I'm really happy to present this to you. And again, it's about the portability. You know, you take that machine, and this whole thing converts back and forth in just a matter of minutes, just with a couple pieces. I mean, it's all you need here is to switch your sluice backs back to that machine there. So, I mean, we really are talking about the ultimate package.